Hey there, Andrew from C1D Paintball. Video shot at Warzone Paintball in Rigo, and the game type is Shield Assault. First time we've done a Shield Assault video. First time played a game that's Shield Assault. I've played with shields before, Connor and I both, at big games. But for a regular game, this is the first time. And the video is called, I'm going to have a dramatic sound effect here, at least on my voice.
Shield of Screams.
You're going to see why I called it that a little later. So it's a 5v6. We are on the team of 5. There's me, myself. It's like 2 people. There's myself, Connor, and Charlie. And we're going to be attacking. Now, if you look at the map here, I got to use a Google map. I didn't have to draw this one. But I will outline the paths. So here is the area that I call the Heights. I don't think that's the formal name of the map, but I just don't remember what they called it at the field. But anyway, you'll see here there's 2 areas to it. There's a main area on top, this like platform where defenders start, and they can't leave this area. We're going to highlight it in orange since the orange team defends there. And there's a series of catwalks going up, basically a big loop, so kind of an east and a west approach, as you can see in the yellow highlights. So those are what we approach from. Now you can see, very important, this little spot here. You see that? So at this end of this corridor, and we're going to do another sound effect, the
Corridor of Death.
That is the Corridor of Death. Anyway, a little orange, so the defenders can just peek around that corner. So, I mean, you can see that. You can tell just by looking at the map that this is going to be a hot zone. Or it's going to be from the east side around this little area where, again, the defenders can fire in. And it's all about that shield. Now, Connor is going to be running the shield for us. He's fast. He's really good with call-outs. And he assesses situations very well. So he's a prime candidate for this. He has chosen not to bring a marker. He can bring a marker. The shield guy could bring a marker. He's decided not to, so this way he can hold on with both hands and just concentrate on looking around. He will lead us. Of course, the trade-off for that, of course, is if for some reason, he ends up with, there's a couple guys with us that can return fire on his behalf. If we're knocked out, well, then he's all alone without a weapon, although the enemy doesn't know that. So, but he's going to run without the shield, and he's going to use his strength, which is his perception on how to read things in the map and his really good call-outs. And we really need that because it's the first time we played on this map. Okay, so every corner we take around, we did do a quick walk around, but that was 2 weeks prior. So we're kind of going to this mostly blind. So we need those call-outs for him because he's going to be painting the picture for those of us behind him. Now, I'll just put this out there right now. It's called Shield of Screams because the game ends because, Connor and our game ends. I accidentally got Connor from behind. I got him in the finger. The thing about these, when you're following a shield and you got these long corridors, is you use the shield as cover. Obviously, not only is Connor covering himself, but he's covering me as well. So at one point in the video, we're in the long corridor of death, and Connor is moving upwards. So I'm kind of shooting around because the enemy is holding a really tight angle. I haven't got much to shoot at. And if I'm behind Connor and I'm shooting over his shoulder, as he gets further away from me and closer to the enemy, I gotta have an even tighter angle. And so, paintballs don't fly straight. Eventually they start turning. And I got him in the finger. It was pretty sore. We had to tape it up I think we played like 4 more games after this. The next day, pretty bruised up. So I felt bad about that, but I'll put that out there right away. And, just it's out there. I hurt him by accident, and I feel bad about it, but it's still a really good video. Now, Connor's going to have my regular camera on, so the 60 frame per second 1080p camera, because he's got my helmet. We swapped helmets. I'm going to be using a 30 frame per second camera, but you're not going to see it too often because it just didn't work as well. And the sound on it was pretty bad as well, so there's only 2 or 3 clips you'll actually hear from the sound from my own camera, and there's a lot of static behind it, so if you're wondering why it sounds a little crappy there, don't worry, it won't last too long. Now, there was a plan here. We had a plan, so Connor would lead Charlie and myself around the west side, and we had 2 other teammates. They were buddies with everybody on the other team, and they would be coming around the right side, the east side. But they wouldn't be running and firing, because as Connor went up with the shield, I mean, the shield's always going to draw all the fire. So as the guys on top see the shield, and they just focus. They're like moths to the flame. So these 2 other guys are going to crawl carefully around and see if they can flank the enemy from around, catch him by surprise. That's the plan. Okay, we've set you all up, so let's actually see the gameplay.
How much I'm going to be getting shot here on this little yeah. Okay, do we keep on going left?
All right, so Connor's ahead of us, of course, because he's got the shield, us being me and Charlie. And we get to this junction, and Connor verifies we still want to go left. We're following his lead, so, you know, he's calling the shots. But he's going to pause here, and he's going to look up, and he's going to try to spot some enemies. Because remember, we've got our other team of 2 guys going the other way, so we want to get their defenders' attention, because we want to eat the clock a little bit. There's no time limit. So we want to distract their attention on us and that shield while our guys creep up from behind.
One right in front of me, right in front of me. I'll hold it up like this.
So Caller called out an enemy around this spot in front of him. Now Charlie takes aim on the over Connor's right shoulder, and you can see me doing the same over his left. It's this really felt badass, I won't lie to you.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go first.
Now Charlie pushes past Connor to advance left. This is the same time where Connor said he's going left and, you know, he wants to go first. Now at this stage, it's not suicide to move and go ahead of the shield because you already know that the enemy isn't allowed to advance outside this top level boundary I pointed out. So the danger to somebody like Charlie here going out without the cover of the shield for this stretch of the map isn't really too bad. You're not going to get hit from the front, from down the corridor, but you can get flanked from the side, so you got to watch it. Now, personally, I'm going to wait behind the shield because once more, first time played on this map, so I don't have any idea on the angles everywhere, you know, where the enemy can spot and get us. And again, I'm going to mention about the time limit. There is no time limit, no reason to rush. And we're going to buy a little time so our guys can get behind enemy lines on the eastern approach. That shield is like a magnet, so the defenders are looking at it and they're paying attention here. They're not thinking of all the possibilities. At least that's our mindset and our hope. Okay, on this frame there's a couple of key points. First of all, you'll see the building here, which is actually where the ref stands for the game. In fact, there he is now. Hey, ref. Now, this spot is really a border of sorts because once you turn around the corner, you can see that little spot there that I mentioned at when I was setting up the game. Well, at the end of that corridor is that spot where the defenders are allowed to be. It's kind of their boundary, and they got a fairly clear line of sight down the entire length of the corridor of death. So this is a spot where, you know, when you peek around for the first time, having the shield in front of you is key. Also, you know, where Charlie is firing here, now let's blow this image up a bit to better show you. Well, the enemy has, without doubt, has somebody holding the end of the corridor of death there. But there's likely to be a backup for him because, you know, they're sitting there going, okay, I'll take it. You know, the lead guy there who's peeking down, he's going to have a backup behind him to join in on the fun or take the guy's place when he gets knocked out in front of him. And it's also part of this whole platform up here where it's a good overwatch over the lower catwalks so they can nail us. But, you know, they got to watch it because we can get them too. And true to that, you see Charlie firing shots in on him. Now, later in the video, I'll actually point out that I went back a bit from where we had advanced and picked off a guy. This is the exact spot I'm talking about. So I'll probably show a screenshot of this, but just pointing it out right now for you. So this shield's seen a lot of combat. It's all scratched up and building up a layer of paint, not to mention this glare from looking up at the sun. It's a bit tough to see, but I'll outline the top of the walls here. So there's the corridor of death, so you can see the top there. And here is that main platform where the defenders can look out and overwatch the catwalks, both catwalks, not all of it, but good portions of it, the approach on the east and the west side. So, through years of intense training on the Xbox with first-person shooter games, Connor's become excellent at callouts. I mention it all the time, but it's true. It's true. He's going to scout the area. He's going to let me know what he sees. He's going to let Charlie know what he sees. But no, seriously, he is very good at callouts. The Xbox thing, I was going to say as a joke, it's probably closer to truth than I like to admit. But anyway, he's good at analyzing situations on the spot. So keep it going. Give me the recon, bud.
See, there's a building right here that we can use. It's safe. Yeah, there's a building right here. Right here. Okay, then there's a tunnel right here.
So Charlie continues to work on pinning the enemy down and hopefully maybe even taking out one or two. Now you can see part of me here on Connor's point of view camera, the main camera. And if you look down at my actual camera on my head, you'll see I'm trying to peer between the gaps of the boards to get a visual in this situation. Maybe I can see an enemy, you know, just see what's going on. Now note, I'm only looking through those gaps. It's bad paintball etiquette if I were to put my marker through any of these gaps and fire through them. Some fields let you do this. I still don't really do it much. When I say much, I mean the only time I've ever done it is when I'm playing on a tire map, which there's going to be gaps in it. But some maps just outright ban it, so you don't shoot through those. But you can look through those, so I'm trying to get a little recon here.
Dad, you want me to come get you across? I can go down. I'll come get you across. You sure? Yeah, watch it. There's one looking straight. Nope. There's a building right here. Two windows looking at them. Here.
Okay, no doubt. Charlie is out with a headshot. Yeah, that's it right there. No. Yeah, that broke. Yeah, you're out, buddy. Now, it's a risky thing to be the first guy poking down the corridor of death. I mean, you know, in all likelihood, the enemy who got him, you know, right after spawn probably went in there, crouched down, and held that angle. So he's been waiting with that trigger finger ready to go for somebody to peek their head around the corner. And honestly, he's probably surprised that it was somebody without a shield. Look, Charlie's a great player. No risk, no reward. He took the risk. Unfortunately, didn't pan out this time.
That's what I was trying to say. I was just trying to get everyone across. Okay, Dad. You ready? Just switch the camera. Okay, there's a building right here.
So Connor is going to peek down the corridor of death. And like I mentioned earlier on at one of the breaks, first time you want to peek that corner is probably with a shield. Yeah, Charlie will probably tell you that's probably a good idea now. Now, with Connor doing this, we're going to gain some more intel. So you hear him mention that I should ditch my camera. The fact is, my camera's fallen off 3 times already. I kind of edited it out. So it's been a bother. I did get some good camera views, but you know what? I'm here to play the game, so I'm going to stash it in my pocket. Although I did get audio from it, but my camera's gone for the rest of the game.
2 windows. I look over this way. Not like you see there's a tunnel. Go right behind me, and you're gonna peek over me. Then you wanna go crouch? Yeah.
So Connor's communicated well. There are 2 windows in the building next to us. It's kind of through a shield here, but I'm gonna outline that. And right away in my head, it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna go there because I think the enemy can see that too, and it might be the obvious thing, especially if there's a guy at the end of that corridor of death, and there's guys backing him up. Those guys backing him up can peer over and maybe like hold those windows, because if I was playing defense, that's what I'd do. So Connor explains he's gonna crouch walk into the corridor of death, and he can fire over his shoulder using hopefully his cover to clear that corridor at the end.
He's right in front of me. He's right in front of me, crouch.
So there's a guy who took out Charlie, and as you heard, as soon as Connor went around the corridor, this guy starts firing at him. So this enemy player is leaning around the corner, and he's got a really tight angle with very little exposed. It's going to take a shot off the hands, more likely a headshot. And you know what? If you look, a limited part of his head is even exposed. You know, it's going to be tough to take him out, especially because markers and hoppers don't count. Now in this frame, you can also see part of his leg as he's bent down on one knee. It's possible to hit him there too, but remember, I'm going to be shooting from behind the shield. So I'm going to have the shield up, and I'm going to be shooting behind. So I've got to make sure I shoot over the shield so I don't hit Connor, although I already explained what happens with that. But as I try to shoot at a lower angle, like towards the ground where his leg would be, I got more of a chance of hitting Connor with a stray shot. Now, you may notice this little half wall here. There's one on each side of the corridor, and it can be used by both sides to their advantage for a little bit of extra cover.
Right in front of me, crouch. Dad, I'm gonna go up.
So Connor lets me know he's going to push up a bit more. And at this shot, you'll see those 2 half walls I mentioned before. Good for cover. Now with Connor pushing up, I need to be ready to shoot any enemy trying to get him. I mean, he's pushing up to cut that angle, to put the pressure on that guy being the enemy, and I can take him out. Connor is holding the shield very tight and is leaving very little, if anything, exposed to be hit. You can see once or twice actually he just glances at his feet, but he's doing it. I couldn't do what he was doing. I'm just not built for it. Too old for that. But with the enemy holding and smartly holding a tight angle, me leaning over Connor was shortly being a moving target. So as I'm trying to shoot this small little target, you know, my cover of Connor, he's moving too. So it's not going to be easy. And I mentioned it before, paintballs don't shoot straight, at least not for long. And at least Connor's going to be actually set up alongside this half wall to give him and myself a little more cover.
Still on the right side.
Shortly I call out hit. I was actually in this spot on the map, so part of me was in part of the building. I was kind of leaning over to shoot. But literally the rep was on top of me. He was standing on a platform next to me. He lets me know like right away it was splash damage. There was 2 or 3 shots hit this little post in front of me. I mean, it covered my mask. So it was hard for me to see. Probably another reason why I ended up getting Connor. But now as the footage starts up again, you'll hear this happen in real time. And you'll see that the enemy thought I was out as well. I mean, I called out, and so he jumps out the opportunity and he lays into Connor. He's taking a lot more shots now. Now, the enemy doesn't know Connor's not playing with a marker, but they still think they just knocked another guy out. They saw Charlie get knocked out, so they know we're 5. They know we're down to 3 at the most. They really don't know Connor's alone. The trouble is Connor briefly here also thinks I'm out, so he figures he's flying solo right now with no marker.
You're hit?
Now I just said all I see is Hopper. And I'll actually pull back to this spot where Charlie, I pointed out earlier where Charlie got a guy. So I'm looking at the corridor of death. I just narrowly missed getting hit. I got splashed. It's tough, so I fall back to this position. I actually take a guy out who's backing up his teammate who's at the end of the corridor of death. So he's not the main guy holding the angle, but I took a guy out. At least Connor also knows that I'm still in the game because I'm active, I'm talking, and I'm helping.
Dad, are you good? Dad. Okay, I'm gonna go up. Did you get the guy right here? Dad! Did you get the guy right in front of me?
Connor gets a little loud, but he is pushing up towards the crazy corner. So he wants to make sure, who did you take out? He yells, well, did you take him out? I'm about to break the good news of bad news. Good news, I took a guy out. Bad news is there's still a guy right there.
Okay, I'm gonna go up. He's right there. Shit!
Okay, so Connor clenches his hand as I inadvertently hit him off the pinky. The ball didn't break, so he's still in. Friendly fire doesn't apply. But at a relatively close range in a tender spot where he didn't expect it, it hurts like hell. So now, Your Honor, in my defense, I give you Exhibit A. Notice the really tight angle that defender is holding. And I've been shooting up to this point. This is what I was doing. So I would see a target and I would kind of fire shots a little bit more to the left at first and kind of zoom in. So closely getting closer to the target, specifically not to hit Connor. So, but you got to do this quickly and to find the range and the target. But once again, as Connor moved closer to that target and further away from me, but he ended up putting himself a little bit more in the firing line. I had less of a margin to work with here. I mean, it became riskier the further I became from him. And, a stray bullet got him. I felt horrible. And, yeah. So, hey, he's a shield guy, and with shield assault comes chaos. That's the plan. I'm gonna stick with it. Now, I actually get knocked out because I'm going to say go to the ref, a timeout for injury, which you can do. And as I go timeout for injury, Connor right away says, no, I'm good, I'm going to stay in. And when I said, timeout for injury, and I started to motion towards Connor, I put myself in harm's way. So when he says, no, he's good, and the game's back on, I get taken out because I'm exposed there. Now, it's going to be a few seconds after that, I'm out, I'm hit, Connor knows this, he can hear it, walks away, I walk away. His hand's starting to swell, starting to hurt. He's got no marker. He's like, okay, that's it, I'm out. Which, totally understand why. By the way, on the way out, you'll see the guy who had previously taken out, he takes the opportunity to walk out alongside him.
Oh, my nail, ow! Whatever, I'm out too. I'm hurt. I'm out, son.
So that is it. And let me tell you one thing. If you've seen a lot of our videos, or even just a handful, I say very often, it's all about playing the game, having fun. We do little strategies, but not ultra big strategies. But after playing this game, and after getting, Connor and I getting knocked out the way we did, is after we talked about it, especially on the drive home and subsequently days after, we really want to do this game type again. We really want to attack again. Actually, there's going to be another video coming out when we defended the game right after there. But we're really looking forward to attacking it again. There's 2 or 3 little strategies. At first, I was going to actually show them on video, but we want to try them out first. So we're really looking forward to playing this one again. I had a lot of fun, feel horrible. I hit Connor, but these things do happen in paintball. I'm not exonerating myself by saying that, like, oh, it happens, you know. I really felt horrible about it. Again, they do happen. That's about it. Hope you liked it. Many more videos coming out as long as I can find the time, as long as I get up. I usually get up at 5 in the morning to have a coffee and edit some videos because that's my cycle, that's my hobby. So they'll be coming out. Hope you enjoyed, and go out there, be positive, grow the sport by being a good example, and that's about it. Remember, at the end of the day, it's only a game.
Game over.